missing you every week, so I've decided we're going to have a story time. And today I've got a very special story to tell you about a little boy that very badly wanted a little dog. Have you got dogs at home? Have you got any pets at home? And what Auntie Pinky wants to ask you today, do you look after those little dogs? Do you love them? Do you give them their food when they're hungry? Do you pat them like this when they're tired? Rub their little ears and tell them that you love them? Do you look at their little faces like this and say, you know, I really, really, really love you? And the little dog goes like this and he says, I love you too. I love you too, Auntie Pinky. And I want these little doggies to tell you something today that I hope you're never going to forget today. Before we even talk about these little dogs or all the little children or something I want to tell you, should we ask Jesus just to come here and listen to this story and to be with us today? Because you know Jesus is with us wherever we go, and Jesus wants to watch us to see if we love our little dogs and cats. Dear Jesus, we are so glad that we can be here today. We're so glad that we have animals that we can love. We pray, dear Lord, that you will help us always to be kind to them, to be good to them, and to show them that we love them. Please, dear Jesus, help us to have a lovely time together as we sit and listen to the story about a little boy that wanted a dog. Thank you so much. Amen. This little boy's name was Johnny. I'm telling you about Johnny today. And Johnny's a funny little boy because you'll find out in the story when he goes into the shop to look at the little dogs. At the very end of the story, we find out a secret about him. There was a little boy, and he was a poor little boy. He didn't have much money, and his mommies and daddies weren't like our mommies and daddies are that have got big houses and lovely cars. And he came home one day and he said to his mommy and daddy, I so badly want a little dog. Mommy, daddy, can't you please give me a bit of money to buy a little dog? I'll do anything for you if you just help me to get a little dog. And the mommy looked at her little boys and she had like tears coming down, and she said, you know, Johnny, we really would love you to give you a dog, but sweetheart, we don't have any money to buy a little dog, and dogs are very expensive. So little Johnny went away, and you know what? He'd seen a shop, a little place where they sold little dogs, and every afternoon after school, he would run to the shop and he'd look through the window and he'd try to see the little dogs. And then one day, the man who works in the shop said, what's your name? My name's Johnny, Uncle. Do you love dogs? Oh, Uncle, I love dogs, and I would just love to have a dog, but you see, Uncle, Mommy and Daddy aren't very rich, but I'm going to try and find some little jobs to do, and I will come back every day and look at these dogs. I love all these dogs. They're all so nice, and I don't know which one. I love the little one with the black face, and this little one, he looks so good, but he's the big one, and I think he looks after all these dogs. Do you think he does, Uncle? Does he look after these dogs? Oh, I love him too. And the little boy gave the little dog a big hug, and then he went away. And as he was walking away, he thought, now, there must be a way. There must be a way, Johnny. He was talking to himself. He said, Johnny, there must be a way you can get money. Do you know what he decided? One day after school, he was going to go and see if he could find a job. So after school, instead of running to see where the doggies were, he went to a house and he looked at it, and there was a nice car in the garden, but the garden looked a little bit untidy. So he went up to the door and his heart was going very fast. He said, I wonder if I can do this. But he knocked on the door loudly. Waited, and while he was waiting, his heart was going faster and faster, and the faster his heart went, the more he knocked, louder and louder. And then a lady came to the door and said, what do you want, little boy? And he said, well, my name is Johnny, and I was just wondering if I could perhaps just sweep your garden a bit, because you see, you've got a lovely garden, but it's been raining and it is a little bit untidy. Auntie looked at him and he said, did you say your name is Johnny? He said, yes, my name is Johnny. He says, well, Johnny, I'll tell you what, I'll fetch a broom and I'll see if you can work like a big boy. Because you are, about 10 years old, maybe 11 years old? Oh, no, Auntie, I'm not even 11 yet, but I'm nearly 11. All right. So she went inside and she came out with quite a big broom. And when he looked at it, he thought, oh, that's a big broom. But Do you know what he did? He kept on thinking about that little dog. He kept on thinking about the dogs in the window. And he thought, it doesn't matter how hard this job is, I'm going to sweep this garden until it's so clean that you could eat off it if it would be so clean. And he took the little broom and he swept, and he swept, and he swept. And eventually it looked beautiful, knocked on the door. But this time his heart wasn't going faster. His heart was quite calm because he looked at the path and he looked at everything, and everything was perfect. My auntie came out, she said, "Wow, Johnny, I can't believe it. I can't believe my eyes. You've done such a beautiful job. Look at the path." And she called her husband. She said, Jim, come quickly. We found somebody who can sweep our garden for us. And Daddy came running down and he said, "What have you done, Johnny? Could you come every single week and sweep our garden for us?" Oh, I'd be so glad to do that. You see why? Because I'm actually saving for a little dog. I'm going to find out how much it costs, and I'm going to come every week. And if you've got any other work, if you want me to wash your car, sir, or if you want me to do anything, I'll do it for you. I have to earn some money to buy that little dog. And you know, as he ran home, he couldn't get home fast enough. He ran, and when he got home, he was all out of breath. And his mommy said, "What have you been doing, Johnny? We've been worried about you. You didn't come home after school." He said, "Oh, mommy, I just went to this house and I thought I'll just knock on the door. Maybe just the auntie will give me some work. Maybe just I can earn some money to buy a little dog." Do you know what? She came and she gave me a big broom, and Mommy, you know, it was so big I was quite nervous. My heart was actually going like this because I didn't know if I could do the job. And then I took the broom, and it was like I got strength in my arms. I just swept and swept and swept, and eventually I could see it was perfect. And I knocked on the door, Mommy, and she came out and she said, "Oh, what a good job." And she even called her husband and said, "Come quickly and come and see what Johnny's done." And now I can go there every week, and I'm going to save up, Mommy, until I've got enough money for that little dog. And that night when he got into bed, he closed his little eyes and he said, "Dear Jesus, I'm so glad that you gave me a job. I'm so excited to get a little dog. And dear Jesus, I want to say thank you to you tonight. And I want you to know that I'm very, very happy." And the next day after school, what did he do? He went to the pet shop and he walked in and he said to the uncle in the pet shop, "Excuse me, sir, can I please just go and have a look at your doggies again?" And he went and he patted all the little dogs and he loved them all. And this one little one had a little red nose and these had funny little pug noses. He said, "You've got a funny little nose, but I love you." But then he saw a tiny little dog and he looked at that little dog and he picked it up and he loved it and he pushed his little head. He rubbed his little nose and he looked at his little eyes. He said, "Oh my word, you've got such tiny eyes. Can you really see with those little eyes, little dog? You are so cute. You are really so cute." And she held the little dog and he turned the little dog around and he looked at the little tail and he put him down. And as he went out, he said to the uncle at the shop, he said, oh sir, I love these dogs. Please don't sell any of them until I've picked one of them, but please, sir, I'll be back." And so after school, he went to another place and he tried to find another job to do. And this job was, he saw that there was somebody working on the veranda. And he went up and he said, excuse me. She turned, "What do you want, little boy?" "I wonder, do you work here?" "Yes, I work here." He said, Won't you please let me help you with your work? You can give me anything to do. I'll scrub the kitchen floors. I'll do anything for you." "What do you want to do work for, little boy?" "Because you see, I'm saving to buy a dog, and you know, dogs are very expensive." So she looked at him, and she looked at him, and she looked at him. She said, "What's your name?" "My name's Johnny." "Okay, Johnny, I'll tell you what. I hate to wash this front stoop. I hate it because I'll get on my knees and I've got to take water and I've got to scrub it. Would you try and do that for me?" "Oh, yes, sure, I'll try. I'll try right now. Can I do it right now?" So she said, "Well, there's the bucket of water already. I was just going to do it." "You can do it and let me see how you work." And he quickly rolled his trousers up and he got on his knees and he took the brush and he started to scrub the floor. And eventually he looked at it, and it was shining. He wiped it up nicely with the mop, and when he was finished, it looked so nice. And she said to him, well, what a good job you've done, little fellow. I'll tell you what, would you like to come here every week and wash my floor for me? Oh, I just love that, he said. And then he went and said, bye. She said, but what about the money? Don't you want the money? Oh, I nearly forgot to take the money. And she went inside and she came out and she gave him 20 rand. And he looked at the money and he said, oh, thank you so much. And then he ran to another house and he found another little job to do. And eventually he had 5 places where he could go. Every afternoon he went to one house, and every afternoon they would give him some money. And some of them gave him 20 rand. The lady where he did the garden, where she called her husband, he gave her 50 rand. And every week he earned the money, and every week he would count the money, and then every day he would run into the pet shop. And he said to the uncle one day, he said, you know what, sir, you haven't told me how much this dog costs. He said, but you never asked. So he said, well, do you know which one you want? He said, but sir, I don't want to pick yet, but can you tell me how much the dogs cost? So he said, well, you know, they are very expensive. The big one is very expensive. I don't think you could afford this one. But I tell you what, whichever other doggy you choose, I'll give it to you for 300 rand. 300 rand, said Johnny. That is a lot of money. So he said, yes, it is a lot of money, Johnny, but it's still cheap. It's much cheaper than I would sell it for. So he thought, well, I'll go home and count my money. When he got home, he started to count. And he already had earned 150 rand. I've only got to earn that again, and I have 300 rand. And he was so excited. He ran to his mom. He said, you know what, Mom? I've got half my money for my dog. And his mom said, half your money? How much does the dog cost? The uncle said I could have it for 300 rand. Oh, Mommy said, you're a lucky boy, because dogs don't cost 300 rand. So every day he worked, and he counted his money. And then one week he looked and he had 300 rand. And he ran to the pet shop as fast as he could, and he ran inside and he looked at all the dogs and he said, hello, big dog, I love you. And little black dog, I love you. And I love you too. Oh, you're so cute. And oh, my little doggy with the little black ears, you're so cute too. Just look how cute you are. And then he looked at these little ones with a little puggy nose, and this little one, he had a sad face. He said, don't be sad, don't be sad. He looked at these 2 little ones and he said, I love you too. And I love you. You got long ears too. And you got funny big feet. But you know what? There's one little doggy here that I love the most. And he picked this little doggy up and he hugged it so gently and he carried it so nicely. And as he got to the counter, he paid the money. And he said, sir, do you mind if I take this little dog? And the man said to him, Johnny, are you sure you want that little dog? So he said, yes, I do. And he said, but have you noticed anything about this little dog? Have you noticed at the back of his little body, under his little tail, what has he got? He's only got 1 foot, only 1 leg. His 1 foot is gone. He's only got 1 back leg. And do you think you could ever take him for proper walks? Do you think you'll ever be able to play with this little dog? And he said, you know, sir, I want this little dog. And as he picked the little dog up and he held it against his body likes, and he loved it. He was just a little boy, really. He loved the little dog, and he walked. And as he walked, the man looked at the little boy, and he looked again, and he thought, but he's been here every day, and I never noticed that he's not walking properly. His 1 leg is shorter than the other leg, and he can't walk properly. And this little dog can't walk properly either. And then he knew why this little boy had taken the little dog with only 3 legs, because he said to the little dog, he heard him saying to the little dog, what is your name? What name will I give you? What name shall I give you? Then he said to the little dog, I don't really know what name to give you yet, but one thing I do know. You and I are just the same. You got 3.5 legs, and I've only got 1.5 legs. So we're both the same. So we're going to be the best of friends, because I know that you're going to be the best friend I've ever had. And he took the little doggy and he loved it like this. And as he loved it, he started to run. And with his funny little leg, he was running down the road like this as fast as he could. And he got to the house and he opened the door. I said, "Mommy, Daddy, come quickly. I've got my little pet. I've got my little dog." And the Mommy and Daddy came out and they said, But Johnny, you bought a dog that's only got 3 legs. What's that going to help?" He says, "It doesn't matter, Mommy. And this little dog will understand me better than any of the other dogs. And I'm so glad I've got a little dog like this." And the Mommy said, "Well, what are you going to name it?" "Oh, Mommy, you'll have to help me to think of a name. I just don't know what name to name it, because it's just so cute." And he ran upstairs and he took the little doggy, and that night he took the little dog and he held him so tight and he said, "Dear Jesus, I want to thank you for this little dog. I want to thank you that this little dog is just like me, that he's got one little leg missing just like me. And when we run and when we play, we can run and play together. And I've seen little dogs without legs. They just pull themselves along, and he can do that. And when he gets tired, dear Jesus, I'll just pick him up and carry him home. I'm so glad, and thank you so much for giving me this lovely little dog."